Hello you guys, how are you? Welcome back to my channel, Get Certified. For those of you who doesn't know me, my name is Menak and I'm your guide for your next ABAP certification. So in this video tutorial, we are going to cover the next chapter in this video series, which would be ABAP Debugger program usage. So where we are going to discuss the various types of debugger available and the techniques you would need to master in this series so that you can answer all of the certification question. So right before getting into the details of it, guys, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the thumbs up button. Alright, so let's have a quick rundown into the various topics which we are going to discuss in details. The first, we are going to look various ways to start our debugger. We are going to see the three main topics, which are breakpoints, the watch points, and assertions. And we are going to have a look in viewing and modifying the data objects in during our debugging process. And to end, we will have a quick look into the architecture of the current debugger. At the end of the series, you will be able to answer the questions relating to these areas, which would be how to examine the runtime behavior of a ABAP program using the ABAP debugger, and then you will be able to debug your ABAP programs, and then you will be able to check your program if it was correctly coded, and then you will be able to use watch points, assertions, and checkpoints to actually debug and better understand your program. And effectively, the last point would be to understand the very design difference between the two versions of the debugger. So to give you the very basic definition, or in simple words, what is a debugger? So well, your debugger it's a very important component in every development environment. So what you guys know is during the development of your application, you are sure that you will come across any error situations. It might be a simple situation where you're not able to solve a problem, or a complex one where you're really not able to find it comes exactly from where or what is the error. So debugger is a valuable tool in detecting and analyzing those error situations. So basically, guys, you need to familiarize yourself with the functional scope of the ABAP debugger, and in this video tutorial we are going to try and cover the most important concepts of this very useful tool, and with respect to the certification, of course. And it is a tool where we can use during either the development phase or during the testing phase, or while attempting to analyze problems in the production system. So in the next couple of minutes, we are going to cover the main difference between the two debugger version which exists, which is the classic, and which has existed since I'm guessing like R3 version, the SAP with the real old ones, and the new debugger, which first was available in a limited kind of in a beta version from SAP version 6.4, I believe, and then from SAP NetWeaver 7 onwards, it is a standard addition to the debugger. So we'll also cover a number of tools which are available to us in the new debugger and the user interface, and how to customize our debugger to meet our needs and preferences. And I'm thinking of covering each of these topics in a separate videos, and then as usual, at the end of the video we'll have a small quiz where you can test your knowledge. Right, so as of your current SAP version, you have access to two versions of ABAP debugger. The first, the older version, which we also call the classic debugger, which has existed since ABAP, since SAP R3, has always had the majority of the functions, had limited functionalities included in that. As the ABAP language evolved, the debugger also evolved, for example, the inclusion of objects in both the ABAP and the debugger. So let's have a quick look on how the classic ABAP debugger looks like. So let's set a breakpoint out here. And what I did was I already said I'm going to show you how to do it. You go to Utilities and then Settings. You have an option of debugging. And before recording the video, I already set to the classic debugger, so you can select your classic debugger and then you can press enter, and then what you can do is let's execute this program. So this will bring us to this screen now, which is our old display of our classical debugger. Well, the original debugger always had some certain limitations. So for example, the layout is mostly fixed and there were restrictions in the amount of data that could be at one time. For example, a maximum of 8 data objects could be displayed, and of that only, 8 data objects could be displayed, and of those only 4 at a time. So as you can see right about here. And only you could use only one internal table which could be displayed, and the table scrolling, especially horizontally, is often like really hard. Well, it is possible to reorder columns. Knowledge of the fields of the internal table was necessary to complete this task, and other areas also require detailed knowledge of the executing code. Otherwise, also there is no way from within the debugger to look up for a function module or a subroutine name within the repository to set a breakpoint. That is absolutely not possible. The classical debugger shared the same external mode role area of the code being debugged. So, well, like I just still cannot cover the module or explain what you mean by an external mode role area. So, just to give you a quick definition, like a quick idea about what it is, it corresponds to the session window in which you're actually running the code. So, like this restrictions, this actually restricts the amount of interactions the debugger had with the repository or the system as a whole, without impacting the code being debugged. So each of the debugger's action could influence the program flow of the application, and as a result was really limited. So just to give you an example, with the classic debugger, it is generally not possible to analyze program in debugging mode that run in an SAP processor unit and are called recursively from the subroutine unit. Now, say for example, a conversion exit cannot be analyzed using this debugger if it runs within a write statement. So what basically happens is conversion exit executes whenever it is sent to the presentation or retrieved from the presentation layer. If called from a write statement, the debugger is called recursively from within itself. So because of the small or medium level restrictions from SAP NetWeaver 6.4 or 6.5 onwards, SAP released a new version of the debugger, and that is what we use most commonly today, which is called the new ABAP debugger, and it did eliminate these restrictions. The reason for this is the new debugger executes in its own external mode. So this allows external mode. I gave you a small explanation of what an external mode is, but we are going to look into it in the detailed version in the next chapter. So basically, the main advantage of a new ABAP debugger is it executes in its own external mode. So this allows the code to be analyzed to run with virtually no impact from the debugger. So this separation of functionality actually allowed much greater interaction with the system, allowing, say for example, a search help use the display of more than one internal table simultaneously, an unlimited number of data objects, as contrast to using only 8 data objects at a single point of time, of which we can only show 4 data objects. So the debugger that is specified at the default starts when needed, so you can change the default. Let's show you that. So basically, to change or what you go what you do is you go to utilities and then settings, then ABAP editor, and then debugging, and then you can select your default debugging uh, like this, and there you go. So by default now the new ABAP debugger will be launched. So uh, the way the two debuggers are launched are exactly the same. So let's have a look in the various methods to actually launch the debugger. So the first way is what you can do is you can go to the object name. So let's take this, and then let's press the right key. We have an option which is called execute, and you can start the debugger right here. So this is the first way of launching a debugger, and the second way would be in the editing area, so which is right here. So we can actually say, for example, I only have a breakpoint. Let's leave this, and let's say, for example, I need to um, say, for example, set the debugging, uh, set the breakpoint right here. So we can double click right here, or you can select the line and then either press set or delete session breakpoint, or with the shortcut Control Shift and F12, and then you can go right ahead and press this button, which is used for direct processing, or you can press F8. So this will also launch the ABAP debugger. Right, so this is the structure of the new ABAP debugger. So I'm going to go in great details about the different tabs which are available right here, and the different functionalities of the new debugger. So that was the second way. The third way, what you can do is you can go right about in system, and you can go in utilities, and then you can go right about debug screen. So right here, debugging switched on, and once you press the F8 or the execute button, you will be redirected to the ABAP screen again. So this would be the third method, and there you go. And another method would be right about in the systems, and then the systems utilities, and then you can click right here on debugging ABAP. So even this would actually trigger your ABAP debugger. So there was three ways, and there was three ways to launch your ABAP debugger, and the fourth way, it's a much easier way, which is using /h. So you can in the right about in the text enter field, you can in the command line. So this is the command line, so we can enter /h and press the enter button, and as soon as we execute the program, it will again launch our debugger, the new ABAP debugger, or the debugger which you selected by default. So let's go back. So that's it for this video. So in this video you will learn how to launch your different ways to launch your debugger, and the different types of debugger which are available. In the next video we are going to cover a little bit in-depth analysis of the different tools which are available to us in the new ABAP debugger. And then in the future videos we are going to talk about this assertion and breakpoints, and then finally we are going to end this video with the new debugger customization and settings. So if you like this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the like button, and see you in the next video, and thanks for watching.